Well, well, well. If it isn't more things to put on my reading list. Welcome back again to the library, Readers and Rapscallions. We are all readers here, ideally, or we all want to become readers here. So this is either something that you are aware of or you will learn, but the reading list never stops growing. It's like a very scary wildfire, and all you've got is like a cup of water to put it out. It's the monster we can't control. The reading list it continues to grow beyond our ability to finish books. So what I'm gonna be going over today are some of the series that I want to put on that list. Some of those series that I want to get into and check out, and if not finish, at least explore. Maybe start off with the first couple books. And what I think I'm going to do is do this for different genres. Maybe I'll, you know, do one this week and then with a different week down the line do a different genre or something like that. I'm still putting the idea together. But for now, these are the historical fiction series I am most excited to read. To begin this list of historical fiction series that I really want to read is going to be the Baroque Cycle by Neil Stevenson. First and foremost, reason to read this. If it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. But in other news, it's something that is one of those books that just I don't know what it is. There's just something about it that really drew me to it every time I saw it at like a Barnes and Noble or a used bookstore or something. And then one day I saw it for like $3 at a library sale, and I just picked it up. The first book is Quicksilver. So it's Neil Stevenson is an author in that same vein. I don't know what it is. I don't really know a whole great deal about his writing, but there's just something about the tangential things I've heard with the ideas that he uses that makes me want to check out some of those stories. And maybe it'll be something that entirely doesn't agree with me. I don't know. But the premise is kind of what drew me at first. So, firstly, it's called Quicksilver because that's another term for mercury, liquid mercury, and there is apparently a significant section of this book that is devoted to alchemy. So, if it's a historical fiction that tiptoes a little bit into that supernatural element or something similar to that, bonus points. Even if it's not, dealing with a time period in the Enlightenment era of Great Britain, England. I don't want to use the wrong term because that's going to make people mad. British Isles, London area ish. Dealing with that time period, that was still. It's a really interesting time because that is the time which you get all your modern liberal ideas of democracy and human rights and whatnot, and the birth of science as we know it. But you also have holdouts from the Dark Ages and earlier times, so like superstition, so things like alchemy. And you have this mix of the supernatural just kind of being a part of people's perceptions of life, and also rationalism. And this is a cool transitional time period that I really don't actually know all that much about, especially in this place and time. This is in primarily in and around London, and then in the sequel books, I understand it kind of branches out into the Greater British Empire and into like the Philippines, I think, and then I think there's some parts that are in the American colonies, which would have been very, very, very new at the time because this is in like the late 1600s, mid late 1600s. And yeah, even if you're someone like me who likes history, is enthusiastic about history, but doesn't know a great deal specifically about this time and place, it still incorporates a lot of big names, a lot of big Wikipedia articles of history, historical figures from that time and place. So I'm talking like William of Orange, Oliver Cromwell, Louis XIV, Sir Isaac Newton, only the greatest scientific mind that has ever lived, arguably. And he's one of those guys that I mentioned who, despite being, eons ahead of his time, scientifically. He also like had an alchemy lab. He kind of dabbled in that stuff, and I'm just really interested to see kind of where they go with this story, if nothing else, just for the time period. So this is one that I'm really looking forward to checking out. And next up on that list of historical fiction I really want to check out, I'm really excited for. If you guys have seen my list of authors I'm really excited for, this is going to be of no surprise, but this is going to be Pillars of the Earth specifically, and Kingsbridge in general by Ken Follett. So Kingsbridge is, I think it's a 4-book series, and this is beginning in terms of publication order with Pillars of the Earth. And this is in the 12th century, I think. And it's basically a village of medieval peasants and their struggle to build a church. And that doesn't really sound like a whole lot on the surface, but it's kind of where it goes, and the characters and all the different kinds of things that happen. I've heard it described as basically being a Song of Ice and Fire, but remove the magical elements from it. It's a historical fiction that kind of reads like a fantasy almost. Like, it doesn't have any of the supernatural stuff in it, but the struggles that these people face and the stakes and the scale of it and the incredible characters are something that make a series with what is a fairly simple premise worthwhile. And then the whole series just kind of expands from there. Kingsbridge is the name of the town, and in terms of publication order, you've got the Pillars of the Earth, which is, like I said, in the 1300s, and then Ken Follett expands the story into the 1500s. There's a prequel that takes place in like 995 AD, and then the newest one just came out a couple of years ago, I think, and it ends right in like 1798 or something, basically at the crossroads of the Industrial Revolution and the French Revolution and the beginnings of the Napoleonic era, which is like one of my favorite places and times in history to read about. So I'm very, very excited to get there with Kingsbridge. This is going to be a fun one. The next one on the list for my historical fiction series I'm really looking forward to. It's an author who ought to need no introduction on this channel, Mr. Robert McCammon, Speaks the Nightbird, kicking off the Matthew Corbett series. This is in the late 1600s, in the American colonies is where it starts. And it's a 10-book series, so I understand that it goes like all over the place. And I'd imagine, given that it's named after a particular character, that it's within a fairly short time span that this series takes place over, i.e. a few decades at the most. But I don't really know. Basically, it kicks off with Matthew Corbett being a character who is trying to prove the innocence of a lady in North Carolina, what is now North Carolina, being accused of witchcraft. So, like I said, I like my supernatural stuff, and I like my historical fiction. If this is something that combines it, which Mr. McCammon has a glorious history of doing, then all the better. Even if it doesn't, I'm really, really excited. Robert McCammon, I've read Boy's Life, which I have a review up for. Go check it out. And I have read Swan Song. Both of those are like not just really, really good books. They are 10 out of 10, 6-star all-timers for me. So if his track record holds up, this is definitely going to be worth my time. I've also heard the series incorporates, as it kind of progresses, horror elements and supernatural stuff kind of gets a little bit more prominent, and that might add some more fun flavor to the historical fiction. So we'll see how that goes. If this series agrees with me, I'll definitely continue with it. And it's McCammon, so I don't see why not. Speaks the Nightbird, Robert McCammon. Last but certainly not least for historical fiction series, I'm really looking forward to. I take these off my shelf to demonstrate them. You can see the giant hole back there. The keen-eyed of you have seen this on my shelf, I am sure. Shogun by James Clavell, The Asian Saga. Look at this beautiful edition. This is like one of the prettiest books I own. Anyway, The Asian Saga is written by James Clavell, and it covers like the better part of 500 years of time. So Shogun is not the first one published. It is the first one that takes place chronologically. And it's a crazy, like, fish out of water story of a British sailor who washes up in feudal Japan in the 1500s. It's right at the beginning of the Tokugawa shogunate, which I think is in like the early, like 1500s or 1600s. I have to double check on the timing of this, and I apologize for not knowing offhand. But basically, really the only people that the Japanese had contact with from the outside world at the time were going to be a few Portuguese traders. So it's basically like Blackthorn, our main character. Blackthorn kind of crash landed on an alien planet. Effectively, it's like the closest thing that you can get for that time period to being on another world. It's a culture that is completely alien to him, and customs he doesn't understand, a language he doesn't speak, and an outlook on life that is completely different from his own. And some of these people, I mean, like it's I don't know how accurate it is for the time, but from I'm given to understand that within the story, like a lot of folks on the Japanese islands at the time had like never seen a white person before, which is going to be a really, really interesting thing to see. I love those kinds of fish out of water stories, especially when they're done right. And I mean, I've mentioned it before all the time on my channel. I love my big books. This is what I call a cat killer. I've got cats, and like you drop it on a poor little kitty, he's going to have a hard time. But this is like, what is this, like 1,400 pages? 1,300 pages. Yeah, so it's not the biggest word count book I own, but it is the biggest by like page number. Like I said, it's just absolutely beautiful. I'm super excited to check it out. But that's just Shogun. James Clavell's Asian Saga expands into, he's got Taipei, which is 1840s, I think, during the Opium Wars. He's got Gaijin in the 1860s in Japan. King Rat is one that he actually wrote, which takes place during World War II, and it's about his own experiences as a POW in a camp captured by the Japanese. And you've got Noble House in Shanghai during the Cold War, and then Whirlwind, which is set during the Iranian Revolution. So it's moving kind of more towards Central Asia, and that's the most recent one. So he covers basically like 350 some odd years of time. It's from like the 1600s to the basically 1980. And having a series that covers that much scope of time is just fascinating. I'm super excited to get into it. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode in the library today, guys. Thank you, Readers and Rapscallions, so much for watching, and continue to watch and subscribe. I really, really appreciate you guys. Seriously, I'm a fairly reserved person, and it takes a good bit for me to even want to be in front of camera. So I really do appreciate everybody who watches. Let me know in the comments of these series I've talked about. Has anyone read them? What did you think? Let me know, and we'll see you next time in the library. Thanks, guys.